record the session as per usual, and then just going to upload it to our YouTube. Okay, so yeah, with this is kind of cool. You can like share individual tabs. So, all right, so let me know if you can see this.
Yeah, I can see it.
All right, perfect. Okay, so hello everyone, welcome. This event is a Q&A with David Ticzon, our lovely guest today, and he's a crypto venture capitalist at Reciprocal Ventures. So again, thank you everyone who could join. We're really excited for this topic, for this conversation today. This is our agenda, as per usual, just a welcome and intro to Phoenix Crypto. Then we'll have a Q&A session for a little bit, and then we'll take any questions from the audience and just wrapping up. And so if you have any questions for David at all throughout our conversation, please just drop them in the chat, or at the very end, if you want to ask your question live, I can unmute your mic and then you can go ahead and ask it to David. So that's just our agenda for today. And I think everyone here already knows what Phoenix Crypto is. I don't think we have any newcomers here, but again, welcome. Thank you for joining us today. We're really happy that you're part of our community. I'll just give the normal spiel. We're a chapter on the Codecademy platform, and we talk about all things crypto. And so sometimes we have interviews with crypto professionals, such as David. We also have technical workshops, such as learning about Coven testnets on Aave. We have Decentralized tours. We have community calls. So there's a lot going on here. We had our last call a couple weeks ago, which is really awesome. Just community call. So that's what this screenshot here is. We have a new voting platform on Snapshot, and basically it's just decentralized community voting. So again, just want to encourage chapter members to follow the link at the bottom. And if you want to initiate a proposal or vote on any proposals that anyone else has submitted, then you can do that here. So we have a PXT token, and so anyone who's attending this call, just let me know, and then I can airdrop you some more tokens. So David, you will get some of our PXT token. There's this whole thing going around where like all the tokens are in my wallet right now, so I have like a quadrillion voting power or something, but we are distributing them. So yeah, just like let me know if you attended, or I can just download the attendance report and I can send out some tokens to everyone. So again, you can connect with us on Twitter. We have Jessica, who's super awesome. She's helping out with our social media now, so posting more articles about upcoming events. So definitely check that out. And then you can see any of our past events or upcoming events on our Codecademy chapter page, which is the first link at the bottom here. And the last thing I just wanted to go over, community related. So this is our final decentralized wearable design. So if you guys remember, we had a chat with Daniel. His username is Oblay, but he is the person who designed our wearable for Decentraland. And so he gave a bunch of designs, but this one was, I thought, super cool and the best. It's very ethereal, and it's the universe on a shirt. So I thought that was really cool. So yeah, this would be the final design. He's still finalizing the versions for the female and the male. And so once I get those, then I can just go through the whole process to submit the design, get it approved by Decentraland. And then once we get approval, then we can mint it. And then again, I can just airdrop the wearable to community members. And then anything excess, we can just sell it to anyone who wants to buy one of the wearables. And then we can get some funding for Phoenix Crypto that way. So yeah, hopefully everybody likes this design. I thought it was super cool, and I think it's going to look awesome. And who knows, maybe we can have like a collection launch party or something like that. So just wanted to share this, and I'll, of course, communicate any updates on our Discord. Oh, which reminds me, please join our Discord if you haven't yet, but I'm pretty sure everybody here has, so thank you. All right, so with that, we'll get into our Q&A with David. Just want to do a quick bio and introduction real quick. So David works on the crypto investments team at Reciprocal Ventures. And for those who don't know, Reciprocal is an early stage VC or venture capital firm that specializes in cryptocurrency companies and also FinTech. And they've invested in projects like Ethereum, which everyone here I'm sure has heard of, Solana, the Graph, Blockdaemon, and NuCypher. But prior to joining Reciprocal, David worked as a program analyst at BlackRock, and also he did product management intern roles at GE, SAP, and Doosan GridTech. He has a bachelor's degree from Cornell University, and also a master's in computer science from University of Pennsylvania, which is awesome. So he's based in Silicon Valley, working in the firm's investments in blockchain and crypto. And so that's actually where I got to meet David. We've been meeting at some crypto meetups in the Bay Area. So that's been really awesome to meet him and really cool to see him on this call as well. So with that, I'm just going to stop sharing real quick so you guys can just see us. It looks like Amelia had to drop, but that's okay. I'm sure she'll be back on in a minute. So again, thank you, David, so much for being here. And so the first question I want to kick it off with is, how did you first get into crypto? Because I love hearing people's crypto backstories and crypto venture capital in particular, since I know that's a very specific subset of venture capital.
Yeah, okay. So I first got into crypto dating back to high school. So that was in the early 2010s. And so I still remember the day I first heard about Bitcoin. So I was just sitting in my school library and someone told me about this new way that you can mint coins on your computer. And back in those days, you could mine Bitcoin and get about 30 to 50 of them per year on just on a laptop. And those were back when the block rewards were 50 Bitcoin each. And yeah, so I got into like Bitcoin really early, ended up going to like Cornell for undergrad. There was a lot of people involved in Ethereum at Cornell. So one of the professors, we call him Goon. He eventually became the founder of Avalanche. Like he was having the Talic on the campus all the time, and even like the decision to have the Ethereum fork between Ethereum and Ethereum Classic happened at Cornell while I was there. And yes, I ended up moving on to BlackRock after Cornell. And so BlackRock is like the world's largest asset manager. It manages like about $8 trillion these days. So like the size of like GDP of countries. And so yeah, at BlackRock, I was really very crypto oriented, and yeah, BlackRock was still saying like the CEO of BlackRock, Larry Fink, was still calling like Bitcoin is just an index for money laundering. There's no value there. And yeah, so BlackRock, we mostly invest in like companies that are public, and my interest was like really getting involved with some startup companies and seeing the birth of crypto and blockchain technology. And yeah, so ended up leaving BlackRock, did a master's in computer science at Penn, did some product management related roles, and ended up joining Reciprocal. And yeah, so far I've really enjoyed working at Reciprocal, and it's a fun job. Yeah, we get to speak to founders every single day that are building the next like great crypto projects out there. And yeah, it's a fun role. And yeah, I've been really passionate about crypto for so long. And yeah.
Wow, you got in super early then. So 2010, that's literally like only a couple of years after it actually started. That's you're probably one of the earliest people that I know, or like you started getting into crypto the earliest. So wow. And also I didn't know Cornell plays such a pivotal role in Ethereum. I actually did not know that. So that's really fascinating.
Yeah, there was a few projects that came out of Cornell. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So, I just think of Stanford as being like the tech school, but I guess Cornell like also is involved in crypto a lot.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of blockchain stuff happening at Cornell. And I think like Coinbase did a report recently saying like the top schools for blockchain and crypto education, and Cornell was number one. Really? So
interesting. Not like UC Berkeley or something. I thought they had their whole like blockchain Berkeley stuff.
Yeah, they have a lot of stuff going on too. But yeah, I guess Cornell has a claim to fame too.
Wow. Okay, nice. So did you get to meet Vitalik at Cornell?
I never got to meet him, but yeah, I know people that know him, and I speak to him like sometimes on a weekly basis. So
wow. Okay. Hopefully that becomes me one day. That's the dream anyway. Wow. Okay. So I guess sort of related to what we're talking about, because I know you work for Reciprocal, but a lot of people might not know like what venture capital really is, because I feel like that term just kind of like thrown out like, oh, venture capital, VC. But can you give just like a brief overview of what venture capital actually is, and also the different stages of investing? Because I know that can also be a little confusing too.
Okay, yeah, so venture capital is mostly like versus these early startups that are looking for funding. So if someone has an idea and wants for a project to take off and start getting users. And yeah, so venture capital is like what the term is, like venture, like setting out to fund these really early projects and hopefully see them scale like 10x or 100x on the investment. And yeah, so venture capital's been around for quite a while. I think the earliest in the United States dates back to the whaling industry in like New England. So there was
Really?
a group of
Okay.
investors that were like venture capitalists, like paying these whaling ships to go whaling. And yeah, it's very similar to, I guess, the venture capital model. And there's a whole book called like VC that goes in the history of venture capital. And so I recommend that to anyone interested in that. And yeah, so eventually, yeah, back in the 1960s, during like the birth of Silicon Valley, there started being venture capital firms out here. So some of the early ones were like Kleiner Perkins, Sequoia, and they all like ended up on the same road, this road called Sand Hill Road in Menlo Park. And those original firms eventually like funded some of the early companies, those being like Apple, for example, and then later on like Google and Facebook, et cetera. So yeah, venture capital is all about helping startups get funded, give advice, and those connections to make your idea grow up into this really big company and project. And so yeah, it's a pretty fun role.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know it went back that early. So does Reciprocal, do they do like pre-seed and seed or mostly just like Series A?
So we focus on early stage. So we go from like seed to Series B. So yeah, we call ourselves full stack to early stage investing. But we've also done investments in some projects that have been later on too, and some public tokens and coins. But yeah, our focus is primarily in those early stage investments. And so those early stage investments, we're making like check sizes of about 250,000 to like 3 million.
Oh wow, that's a pretty big spread actually, 250K to 3 million. Interesting. Okay. Got it. Is Reciprocal on Sand Hill Road by any chance? Or like where is it in SF?
So I'm the San Francisco office. So wherever I go, the San Francisco office for Reciprocal goes. So the firm's actually based in New York City.
Really?
And so the rest of the partners and the team is out there. And
I didn't know. Are you the only one that's in SF?
Yes.
Oh, interesting. Is it because you do crypto? They're like, oh, we need someone like out in the West, or?
Yes, I got offered the role, and yeah, they said you can come out to New York or you can go be in California. And so I'm from California and grew up here in the Bay Area. So yeah, I wanted to be here in California, and yeah, that's the decision I made. And there's a lot of crypto stuff happening here in the Bay Area, as you know. And so yeah, it's a good place to be.
Okay, yeah, we'll definitely get into like the crypto culture of Silicon Valley, definitely. David asked us to put the title of the book in the chat, and I think he was referring to the VC book, so I'm trying to find that on Amazon. Do you know who that's by any chance?
Wait, what's that?
Do you know who wrote that book?
I don't remember. It's like a Harvard Business School professor that wrote it.
Oh, I think VC in American History. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, I think it's Tom
Nicholas.
Yeah, that's the book.
Okay, David, I am putting it in the chat for you. Other David.
Okay, cool.
So there you go. Wow, that looks really fascinating. I didn't know what all the way back. That reminds me of like when joint stock companies and like LLCs were first formed. So I guess venture capital also sort of like went along with, it's just like spreading risk, I guess. That's really fascinating. Okay, we will add that to the list. So I guess my next question is, you have your degrees in computer science. So I'm really interested in why you chose venture capital instead of a more traditional engineering job, since you could have like easily just been a software engineer at like a tech company or something.
Yeah, so I always had like this interest in, I guess, finance and investing, and that's why I ended up working at BlackRock too. So back in middle school and high school, I was already investing in like the stock market. Yeah.
In middle school?
And going to like shareholder meetings. I was going to like Pixar shareholder meetings and stuff back when I was pretty small and young.
What did your parents think? They were like, why is David on this investor meeting? He's 12.
Yeah, I guess they were supportive of that. So yeah, I've always had this love of finance and had this interest in venture capital, and knew that was where all these startups came from here in Silicon Valley. And yeah, so after school, I was thinking about doing like product management. So product management is you're basically the owner of a product, and it's you have to deal with design, engineering, the rest of the business, marketing. And so that was a role that I was thinking of doing, and yeah, came across this role at Reciprocal for doing venture capital, and it was what I wanted to do. And what I wanted to do long term too. And yeah, so I think venture capital is really appealing to me compared to other roles, is that you get to meet all these people, not just within your company, but it's pretty much the world is open there. And in venture capital, it's like really constant learning, since there's so many different things happening, especially in crypto. There's all these different layer ones, there are layer twos, so there's all this stuff happening in NFTs, or there's DeFi going on. And yeah, that's really appealing to me, that it never gets stale or old. There's always something new happening. And yeah, being a part of a project and helping them really early on and seeing them grow into this, hopefully a very successful project, is very rewarding. So it's a fun job. And yeah, I think it offered a lot of different things that you don't just get by doing like software engineering. And
yeah, definitely more of a people role.
Yeah. So that's why I chose that.
Yeah, I definitely, getting to meet you and everything, I definitely see like why you chose venture capital, because you get to learn so much, and like it just seems super fulfilling that you can just like help companies turn into something great. Plus, like, I feel like you're just drinking from a fire hose, because there's so many different things that are happening at any given time. But at least like I feel like I'm very similar to you in the fact that I really like that. I like the constant learning and just being able to take something away from, everyone that you meet. So all right, awesome. So I guess more like on Reciprocal Ventures. So can you just tell us like a little bit more about Reciprocal, and also the different companies that are in its portfolios, either crypto or some of the bigger ones that are non-crypto?
Yeah, so Reciprocal, we've been making investments in the crypto space since like 2017. So like the first like investment was for 0x. We did the
okay, yeah.
So we did an ICO investment there. We also did Radar, which was one of the original relayers built on 0x. And eventually, during that time period, the partners started forming a thesis of what will happen next in blockchain and crypto over the next few years. And out of those ideas, they ended up making investments in Solana, the Graph, and like Blockdaemon too. And yeah, so those investments turned out pretty well, and we're still making investments in crypto to this day. And yet the background of everyone at the firm is from traditional finance, so centralized finance. And yeah, so we're able to really advise within like DeFi, for example, since we're now bringing all aspects of finance to the blockchain. And that's really exciting for us, since we've seen how finance has operated for like the last few decades. So we've been those are, I guess, our main items in the portfolio right now. Our last announced investment was in Solrise, which is
Solrise. I don't think I've heard of that before.
Yeah, it's on Solana, so it's an asset management platform that's decentralized. And yeah, so that was our last announced investment. We also invest in an Oracle called Flux.
Okay. I don't think I've heard of that either. Wow, there's so many.
There's a lot of stuff going on, and we have a few more in the pipeline too. But yeah, those are, I guess, some highlights so far.
Yeah, that's so exciting. So just real quick, so I've heard the term, or I've heard like the graph, like the company tossed around so much, but can you just give me like a quick idea of what the graph actually is? Because I'm still like struggling to understand that.
Yeah, it's for doing indexing, and so it makes it really easy to query the blockchain. And
so they're an API company, like a blockchain API?
Yes, so they do that, and
okay.
they also have like a whole marketplace now too. So there's all these different roles in the graph network. So there's like indexers, delegators, curators, and you can go on the graph's website and you can learn more about all the different roles. So it probably has one like the best like tokenomic setups of what the GRT token can actually do, since there's so many different things that it's able to do within the graph network. And
Okay.
the graph is used by pretty much a lot of famous like projects like Uniswap, for example,
So they query
etc.
the graph then.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so
That makes a lot more
become a pretty
sense.
core technology.
Okay. And then what does Blockdaemon do?
Yeah, so Blockdaemon
Daemon. Okay.
does infrastructure nodes. So yeah, we're like the biggest node provider. So yeah,
Mm.
the biggest competitor to them was this company called Bison Trails, if you've heard of them.
Oh, I've heard of that. Yeah, I have.
So
Okay.
Bison Trails was acquired by Coinbase. So Coinbase was able to increase their offerings for like staking, for example, with
Mm.
that investment. And
Yeah.
so like Blockdaemon's become probably the biggest independent company that does like
Mm.
those services right now.
Okay. So is that staking as a service or is that something different?
Yeah, so yeah, they do that, and yeah,
Okay.
they run nodes too. So
Okay. Got it. Okay. So similar to Figment then. All right.
mhm.
That's awesome. Okay. So this is something I'm also very curious about since like I feel like I know like a few venture capitalists, but what does your day-to-day as a VC actually look like? Is it you just talking to founders or like reading Masari research reports? Like what does it look like when you log on in the morning? Walk me through your day.
Yeah, so it's all over the place. So like I can give you examples for today. Like
Sure. Yeah.
sometimes you have to be up at like 5 a.m. to go speak to someone
5
like in
a.m.
Asia or like in
Oh
Europe.
gosh.
Since crypto's
Yeah.
become very I guess it's decentralized a lot, that we're
Mhm.
talking to founders all around the world. And
Yeah.
you might have to be
Makes
up
sense.
really early to make those times and those meetings. So,
Mhm.
we're talking to founders. We're doing some research inside the firm too, which I do,
Mhm.
topics varying all over the place.
Mhm.
And yes, and just also like sourcing deals and talking to and advising some of our portfolio projects and companies, and
Mhm.
and and talking to different players within crypto, and going to the
Mhm.
networking events like
Yeah.
uh,
You're working during those.
so there's all
Uh-huh.
these different things that we have to do, and
Mhm.
the days can be pretty busy, but with a lot of
Yeah. Pretty
meetings,
varied.
and you're talking to people all around
Yeah.
the world. But
Mhm.
it's really exciting, and I've really enjoyed it a lot. And I guess
Yeah.
every day is a little bit different. There's no set
Mhm.
schedule that every day is the same. It's pretty
Mhm.
much what we need at the moment. So I might need to do like a research report. I might have to go
Mhm.
speak with founders and go through the pitches, and
Mhm.
might have to write an investment memo too. So
Oh wow.
so it's every day is not the same at working in venture capital, but that's the fun thing.
Mhm.
So if you
Yeah.
don't like to be on the same schedule every single day, and you want something various in your career, venture capital
Mhm.
is one of those career
Yeah.
paths.
Well, good thing you did that and not software engineering, because I feel like that's a lot more structured. Like you know what you're doing day to day. That's awesome. Yeah, I feel like a lot of jobs say they're like, oh, like every day's different, but venture capital like really is like every day is different. Yeah, you must be like a master like scheduler or planner. Like I can just imagine your calendar right now is just so stacked at like the oddest times of the day. So that sounds very exciting though.
Oh yeah, I have some meetings like at 5 o'clock a.m. and earlier.
hmm
Sometimes we have to do evening meetings too. So and
hmm
sometimes the meetings are stacked back to back to back. And so
hmm
we've had some really crazy weeks like that in the past.
Yeah, I guess sort of like relate to this. How do you manage a work-life balance when there really is no balance in when your set working hours are?
So I guess I'm able to manage it, and I think
hmm
doing this role is really fun for me, so it's not really
hmm
a problem. But usually in venture capital, we don't have to be trading all the time, and so we
hmm
can also have like a work-life balance too with it. So
hmm
usually like
Okay.
after 5, like we don't have to have any meetings, and you can take that time
hmm
to yourself. And usually the weekends too are usually
Okay.
free, but
Got it.
I'm usually at crypto events on the weekends too.
I was just gonna say, like, I've been to a couple of those events as well, and they're just fun. Like for me, like it just doesn't feel like I'm networking or working. It's just like having a good time with fun people. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's the thing. If you really like crypto,
hmm
like it's not really doing work. It's
Yeah.
it's like having
hmm
fun, and because it's something you're interested in.
Yeah, that's why I really like people in the crypto industry because like I know that most people are there because they have a genuine passion for the industry. So it doesn't just feel like, oh, I'm just doing this like to make money or like to just like have some like arbitrary career or something. It actually feels like people believe in the mission and they actually like they want to be there, which I think makes all the difference. Like you can tell when someone's passionate versus like not. So I find that very invigorating as well. So I guess, when you're actually looking for companies to potentially invest in, do you have any sort of like metrics that have to be checked or like any founder qualities or like areas of crypto that you're interested in investing in? Or is it more of a case by case, or like what does that due diligence process look like?
Yeah, so there's like a combination of a bunch of different things. So we have like certain things that we want to see while investing in a company. So yeah, we want to see like a founder that's really enthusiastic about the problem and has like the right background to actually solve this. And so we got that when we invested in like Solana and like the Graph, for example, really passionate founders that were going to do anything to like achieve that mission. And yeah, we're also looking for like what's the market, how's the competition going to be, what's the go-to-market strategy. And we also developed like a thesis behind what areas we want to invest in. And yeah, that really dictates some of the areas that we have interest in investing. And yeah, I think that's probably one of the best approaches of having really deep conviction that this is going to happen. And then eventually we'll see a company that's solving that problem and we'll make that investment. So yeah, there's a lot of different things that we're looking for, but I guess those are some of the highlights of what we're looking for like during the due diligence process. And so there's not just one thing you need, there's all these other factors.
It sounds like there's a lot of like gut feeling involved. Like if you met the founders and you think they have a good area of the market, then like it comes down to, I feel like, almost a feeling at that point, like, yes, I believe in this person and their idea. That's a lot.
I think a lot of people say that we're investing in people, and that's what you are. And I think a lot of VCs say that as their strategy. And yes, sometimes it's a mix of the data, but sometimes when you're investing really early, there's nothing.
Yeah, there's no data for that.
Built yet. So when we made the Solana investment, like the partners, Craig and Josh, had flown out to San Francisco and spoke with Anatoly and Raj about what their idea for Solana was going to be. And yeah, they just had a very early version of the white paper back in those days. And so they couldn't go off of actual traction of the product yet. But it was, it fit the thesis. We had really passionate founders with a really great background. And it checked a lot of the boxes we wanted to see for making that investment and feeling comfortable that it could be done.
Okay, I feel like venture capitalists are just very good at reading people, or they're just like very self-aware and also just very good at interacting with others and actually saying people's characters and everything, which is a really awesome skill. And you really need that like for this industry in particular. Amelia asked a really good question that I wanted to ask you as well. Do investors and VCs have problems with the big personalities on social media like Elon shaking the industry? Like what's your take on that as someone who's actually a professional in the industry?
So I guess there are some good things that he's done. So I guess more people are paying attention to crypto now. So even though they only have heard of like Dogecoin, I guess it's a start. And yes, I guess he's this big personality and he says a lot of stuff, but I think the good thing is at least it's gotten people interested in crypto, and hopefully they'll start exploring what's actually happening out there besides, I guess, the meme coins and Shiba Inus. But I guess it's a starting point, and crypto now has gone more mainstream due to what he's doing. And so I guess it's not all bad, but I guess most people are still unaware of like some of the really good stuff happening in crypto. And yes, even some of the leaders at some of like the top tech companies here in Silicon Valley still don't know like what DeFi is and all this other stuff.
Still? In Silicon Valley?
Yeah, I was talking to like one of the heads of like Google's like self-driving car project, and he was still unsure of what purpose like blockchain technology had, and so I had to explain to him what's happening in DeFi, for example. And
That's
so
incredible.
I guess for some of these big personalities that say some crazy things, but at least it's getting attention to crypto and starting some adoption.
Yeah, no, definitely. It reminds me of like when every time there's like a bull market, then people get really interested in it, and at least more people hear about it. Even if it crashes eventually, which like it always does, at least like the awareness level is still a lot higher than it was before the run up, So I think a lot of people say like, oh, like crypto went up, now it went down, so that's proof that it's just like not fake, or proof that it is fake and it's kind of a scam. But at the same time, more people are aware, and I think more people see the benefits of crypto and blockchain with each one of these cycles. So
Yeah.
I think it's like a good thing overall.
Yeah, it's definitely true. And I think people have been saying like crypto and blockchain is like a fraud and dead now since like Bitcoin first came out.
Oh my gosh.
You can
Yeah.
see like old news articles where it's like one person that's collected all of them, and like dating back to like the early 2010s, like
Really?
we'll say like Bitcoin reaches $1, but it's gonna die, and then it goes like Bitcoin to $100, it's gonna die, and now we're sitting at like Bitcoin, it went up to like what $64,000.
Yeah. It's
trading.
gonna die.
Yeah, so yeah, people saw Bitcoin go down from like 64,000 and to like 30,000 now, and I guess some people are saying, "Oh, I told you so." It's gonna die, and so I guess we've been through a lot of these cycles, but the long-term thing is Bitcoin's still going up.
Yeah, exactly. Looking at, I guess, the macro view, not just looking at what's happening in the news or the hype cycle, like that quarter or something. Who's that person, by the way, who's aggregating all these articles saying that Bitcoin's going to die?
I'm not sure who did that one. I can look it up later.
Okay, yeah, that'd be really interesting.
Someone also made like a music video type thing to it too.
Oh my gosh, are you serious?
To that song, like "Not This Time."
This time. Is it a TikTok? Where the person made it?
No, it's just on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll definitely take a look at that because that sounds really funny. There's so many crypto haters, but at this point, I feel like the technology has proven itself so many times and it's so entrenched that it's hard when people say, "Oh, it's gonna die," because it's like, is it really though? But yeah, sort of, I guess, related to that, or just I'm really curious about what you think some of the most interesting crypto or blockchain startups are that are, happening right now, and what spaces they're innovating in, like just some of the most interesting projects that you've come across.
Yeah, so I guess right now I'm really interested in like the Solana ecosystem, especially Solana DeFi. So like Solana is like the fastest like blockchain out there right now, and that's what it has. It's scalability and throughput. And so like Bitcoin did like 5 transactions per second.
Yeah.
Ethereum does like 20 transactions per second. The Visa network, which like a lot of people in crypto like thought we would never be able to beat, does like 2,000 transactions per second. And like Solana is already doing it's done like 65,000 transactions per second.
65,000? Are you serious?
Yeah, and like with like Moore's law, as we get like better hardware, more validators, like it's eventually going to go up to like 700,000 transactions per second. And so I think like Solana's like use case, it's going to be this place for DeFi for these doing these really fast transactions and in high speed trading, and that seems what Solana's use case is going to be. So I see a lot of these early like DeFi projects on Solana are going to do pretty well, and still pretty early days in Solana. And we've just had a few hackathons, and the amount of projects appearing in the Solana ecosystem has just been growing a lot. So we've made a few Solana investments, and Solrise being one of them. And so we're really excited about those, and I guess those are an area to keep out for the continuous like growth of what's going on in Solana DeFi.
Yeah, just a couple follow-up questions on that. So one, for those who don't know, can you go over what Moore's law is? And then I just want to confirm that Solana's proof of stake, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's proof of stake, but it also has this thing called proof of history, which...
What is that?
So it's this thing that Anatoly came up with that allows the network to be faster, and has like the essence of time built into.
The essence of time. Okay, I'm gonna have to research that later.
It's pretty difficult to explain, but you can start reading a lot of articles about it, and you can read the original Solana white paper. You can look at Anatoly also made like a Medium post, and there's a bunch of other articles now talking about how Solana is able to work. And so that proof of history is one of those special sauces. And
and also it works with like proof of stake then.
Yeah, so Solana also runs off of proof of stake. So people are still staking and delegating. And yeah, so one of the articles I actually sent the list of resources that has a section on Solana. I think it was like one of the last.
I'm actually copying this right now.
Yes, the 8 innovations that made Solana the first web scale blockchain. Yeah, by Anatoly, and so that could get people started of understanding how Solana was able to achieve this really high throughput. And then Moore's law is basically goes back to the early like Intel days. Like Silicon Valley started with the actual chips, and so Moore's law is basically like computing power is going to basically double. And yeah, so yeah, just we're going to have faster computers and processors over time, and that's it in a nutshell. And yeah, so far it's been holding up, and yeah, so Moore made that prediction decades ago, and it's still going. So so just we're going to have like in general faster computers, and we're going to have like faster validators on the Solana network, and we're going to be able to eventually have like faster transactions even from what it is right now.
So like 100,000 transactions per second or something.
Yeah, so that's the goal. So we just as we get better hardware, we'll get eventually to that point.
Okay. Also, kind of a side tangent, since you brought up Solana in the context of Ethereum, do you think Solana is going to eventually overtake Ethereum, or are they two completely different use cases and they'll just sort of synergize together?
So I think, for certain use cases, like some blockchains are built to do a specific task probably better than others. So I feel like, Solana could possibly be like the home of DeFi, and especially when you need these really high, fast transactions. So like Solana has like an order book on it called Serum that like no other blockchain has. And so I think, for those like use cases that you need to do like high frequency trading, Solana is probably going to win in the long run. But I think Ethereum still has so many users, so many use cases. It has the Ethereum virtual machine. There's so much Solidity code and resources built tied to Ethereum that I don't see Ethereum going away. And, I think it's already been like the main place for
first mover advantage or something like that.
So
and I guess E2 isn't even out yet, so we'll see what happens with that.
So I think we still believe in like a multi-chain future too.
Okay, awesome. So switching gears just a little bit. So for those who don't know, David and I met in the Silicon Valley crypto scene. So I was just hoping you could tell us like a little bit about what the crypto scene's like in Silicon Valley, like some of the people you've met, projects being worked on. And, you hear so many things about like tech moving to Miami, or I don't know, like somewhere out in the Midwest or something. Like, do you think Silicon Valley is really the place to be for people looking to get into crypto, or is it a lot more decentralized?
So I think Silicon Valley still is like one of like the places with like the most concentration of people interested in technology. Some of the best like software engineers and product managers, best people like in marketing, etc. within tech are still here in Silicon Valley. But we've seen like things are getting more decentralized. So the people and teams that I'm speaking to, like, they're not always in the San Francisco Bay Area. A lot of the time they're elsewhere in the country or elsewhere in the world. So I think, with technology like Zoom, for example, and you don't really need to be in the office anymore. That this world has really become decentralized. And even like Bitcoin and Ethereum and all these other protocols, like they've been built by distributed teams, not just working in one place. And I think that's definitely true, that now people don't have to be in one place. Like, you can receive funding from a VC being anywhere in the world, and the merit of your idea is going to really carry through, like, much more than being in one place and being near like a sandhill road.
Yeah, I think that's really powerful, because even like, I know someone who works at Techstars, and they were saying that they, instead of people having to actually be physically located in New York City, they now invest in people all over the world to have like some investments in Africa or just like other states besides New York. So I think that's really awesome. I think that more capital is accessible to more people around the world, not just concentrated in one geographic area. So I think more people get included that way, which is really awesome. Yeah. Also, just real quick for everyone, I did share this Google Doc. It's got a bunch of resources that David personally recommended. So like books, podcasts, research articles, news outlets, stuff like that. So definitely go check that out. It's got the Solana article that he mentioned. So if you just want some more really awesome crypto resources, David's got you covered. So you can check that out.
Oh yeah,
So I just
there's a
wanted to plug
lot.
that real quick.
There's a lot there. So yeah,
Yeah,
some good
it's awesome.
books and yeah, research and podcasts, etc.
Mhm. Yeah, awesome. We'll also be sharing that on our social media as well, so more people can see it. I also want to just open the floor as if people have any other questions. I still have some more prepared ones, but if you personally have some questions for David, you can either just let me know that you want to ask it live, or you can just ask your question in the chat box here. So I'm just going to go on to the next question, but if you have one, just type it or just let me know. So just want to let everybody know about that as well. So David, I'm really curious, like if you want to break into crypto venture capital, where do you even start? Like if you didn't necessarily like go to a really good school or you don't have like a finance or software engineering background, how would you recommend people start if this industry in the line of venture capital work sounds really interesting to them?
Yeah, so yeah, I recommend trying to land like a product management role. I,
Mm,
I see a
okay,
lot of people like from product management or founding their own company eventually go to work in venture capital. And
interesting.
so yeah, I
Okay.
think the product management role like best prepares people to think about what makes a really good product
Hmm.
and also having some essence of what some technical knowledge too.
Okay.
And yeah, I also just recommend just starting to read about the topic you're really interested in. So if you're really passionate about crypto, just forming a really good knowledge base that is able to really allow you to make investments in the space. And
Hmm.
yeah, so if you want to do crypto venture capital, I recommend trying to do like a product management role, trying to
Interesting.
eventually
Okay.
go into like a financial role too, since all the other
Hmm.
people at the firm too also have like a, a traditional like finance background, and I think that
Yeah.
helps. And yeah, also just learning about the topic a lot and
Hmm.
being able to be knowledgeable on all these different aspects of what's happening within crypto or like the specific domain you want to do investments in.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think also just go out and network too. I think like
Yes.
still such an early days in crypto, you can still meet like founders of these like protocols and startups now, and I don't think the entry to barrier is very high. Like you can just go on your Meetup app, for example, and go find some of like events happening in your local area and just go out and start networking and meeting people that are building in the crypto space. And you could also just join like Discord and Telegram too for a
Hmm.
project you're interested in, and that's a way to start getting involved and talking to some of the people building projects. And once you start having a network and knowledge about crypto and did some related roles, and you can now do venture capital and start talking to some VC firms.
Hmm. Yeah, the good thing is that I think there's a lot of decentralized crypto communities. So like I'm part of G256, like, but we also met the blockchain developers, the San Francisco meetup group. So there's a lot of people who are interested in this area. And so like wherever you are, I think there is definitely communities there for you for sure. Gustav actually asked a question that I wanted to pose to you as well. So he really wants to know if there is interest in investing in crypto projects beyond the finance used of it. So investing in just like non-DeFi projects, essentially. Is that something Reciprocal does, or have you seen a lot of that?
Yeah, so Reciprocal does investments outside of DeFi. And so, yeah,
Okay.
we're also focused on Web3 as another area of investing. And
Mhm.
yeah, we're also looking in the NFT space too.
Ooh,
So,
okay.
so yeah, we're not just limited to DeFi at Reciprocal. And yeah,
Mhm.
we have ideas of what's going to emerge. And yeah, DeFi is going to be one of the big players of what's going to happen in like the crypto and blockchain story. But yeah, there's all
Mhm.
this other interesting stuff. And yeah, we're looking at them too. So yeah, that's our approach.
So,
So we're
okay.
literally like full stack crypto. We look at everything out there.
Like IPFS, NFTs, metaverse, all that
Uh-huh.
stuff.
Yes, yes.
That's
I've talked
awesome.
to founders of like gaming companies. I've talked to
Oh,
founders that
really? No way.
do like
Okay.
social and creator coins and stuff like that. So
Big cloud, stuff like that.
yeah, so
Wow.
all over the place, DAOs and DAO
Mhm.
infrastructure. So yeah, we've
Mm, DAO treasuries,
so
all those sorts of
yeah,
things.
we're all over the place.
God, there's just like literally so much you can do in crypto. It's overwhelming, but exciting. I just had a real quick question since we were just talking about like DeFi and traditional CeFi background. So how did you learn finance? Was that your undergrad or was your undergrad also in CS?
So I also had like a business degree too.
Oh, okay.
I took some business related classes in undergrad and also just
Mm-hmm.
learning it, and also being at BlackRock too,
Mm-hmm.
and it gave me like knowledge of what's happening in traditional finance.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think also you can just learn like traditional finance on your own too. Like all of the
Yeah.
materials out there, like what like Wharton MBAs and like
Mm-hmm.
Stanford MBAs and HBS grads, like what they're learning is all publicly available. You could just go on,
True.
literally like everything's on the internet now. And like even like
Mm-hmm.
if you want to learn like finance, it's all there for you, and it's pretty easy and available. And I even feel like a lot of like the best like developers in the blockchain and crypto space aren't from like a traditional like tech background too.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
even like Hayden, who created like Uniswap.
Oh, you swap guy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he didn't have like a software engineering background. Like
Really interesting.
he ended up leaving like a job at a car company, and for like a
Okay.
year built Uniswap and learned Solidity on his own. So
Wow.
and I think a lot of the best developers right now are just learning the subject all on their own. And it's so early that
Mm-hmm.
like universities, most of them, even in the computer science space, don't have
Mm-hmm.
classes on like blockchain and crypto. And
Yeah.
so you could basically become
True.
like a world expert on your own. And
Mm-hmm.
that's really the fact right now. And and if you want to learn finance too, it's all on the internet. And
Mm-hmm.
it's there for you to pick up and learn. So I think everything's still very open, and if you want to get involved, all the resources to get you started is
Mm-hmm.
out there. It's just the hunger to learn.
Yeah. Wow, that's incredible advice and very powerful because you're right. There's so much for education. Like crypto zombies is literally free. Like you can learn Solidity doing that, like finance, all that stuff. So yeah, that reminds me of one of my friends. I think you met him, Kenton. He was like an aerospace engineer. He's actually one of the former, he was on Phoenix Crypto as well, but he just learned finance just by reading books and now I was like super into DeFi. So it's like, well, okay, you can really learn anything you want to if you put your mind to it. So I think that's really cool. The other David in our chat here, I just added a really good comment that I wanted to call out. So like Nessie's using blockchain to trace the origin of coffee grains. And so I think that's a really interesting area is using blockchain within supply chains to prove like authenticity of where products are from or like where they've been along their supply chain. So yeah, I think that's just like a really interesting area. So I don't know if you've seen a lot of companies in that space in particular, or if you like know too much about that.
Yeah, so I worked at SAP before, actually doing
Oh,
supply chain,
true. Okay.
doing supply chain stuff for them. And
Yeah.
so that's definitely an area that even like SAP and these big companies are looking at. So like SAP
Mm,
already was looking at some blockchain technology for powering
really
tracking of where like this product is from, and
interesting.
if it's the actual real product, and just so
Mhm.
that's already something that some of these supply chain companies are thinking about, and some of them
Mhm.
are already using like and testing out Ethereum, for example, for
Wow.
handling that need. So that's
Mhm.
definitely an exciting area, and it's probably going to
Yeah.
be another facet of crypto that's going to grow.
Yeah.
Since supply chains are probably going to run much more effectively for this
Mhm.
technology.
That's great. Yeah, I love all these use cases. I'm actually reading this book called Blockchain Chicken Farm now. Don't know if you've heard of it before, but basically like some of the rural farms in China are using blockchain to prove like the food safety of some of their livestock. And so they're using like QR codes that connect to the blockchain to prove like where this chicken has been or something like that. So I think it's not just being used like in the US, it's being used all over the world, which I think is really fascinating. Um, so yeah, let's see, we only have like a couple more minutes left. So if you have any more questions, please get them in. But I also have a couple more questions as well here. So let's see. We kind of mentioned this before, like there's a lot of strong personalities in crypto, like Elon, but what sort of like news outlets or market research resources do you look at when trying to gauge what's actually happening? Because I feel like there's like what's on crypto Twitter and then there's what's actually happening. Like what do you actually look at to get a clear picture of what's going on in the market?
So I guess I sent some of the resources that I'm looking at, And
Yes.
so some are like research reports versus like news articles and podcasts. And yeah, and also we're talking to like entrepreneurs and founders and projects in our portfolio too, so we get a pretty good idea of what's happening out there beyond the hype and seeing like what new projects are gaining traction. And yeah, so there's a lot of different ways that you can learn like what's actually happening in crypto. And yeah, going to like an event and a meetup group that's close to you, that gives you an idea of what's going on. And since you're meeting people that are building certain types of projects, and it gives you an insight of what's happening compared to like what the mainstream media is depicting of just like meme coins and Doge going to the moon. And yeah, I feel like even like the mainstream news hasn't done a very good job of explaining what blockchain is actually like now. And I think most people, even a lot of people that buy Ethereum now, don't really know what Ethereum actually is, and actually the decentralized apps built on it. And I think most of them have never even used like MetaMask or anything like that, and actually haven't used some of these protocols yet. So I think we're still very early, and I think we have to do a better job of engaging and building use cases and getting people to use DeFi and get involved in Web3. And
Yeah, I think that's definitely the case for a lot of people. Either hold crypto or they're interested in holding crypto, but they haven't done their research essentially on why it's valuable, where they should be putting it. Like, don't just keep it in your Coinbase wallet, like transfer it out somewhere. So I think a lot of people are doing that because I mean, it's a lot of, I think, friction a lot to try to learn more about crypto just because there is information overload, I find. Just because like you go on crypto Twitter and there's a million things just like screaming at you about what's going on in crypto. So I think that's kind of a barrier.
Yeah, that's the barrier, and I guess most people can't tell the difference between, I guess, more of a scam project and what's the good stuff.
And what's real.
So yeah, a lot of people are buying stuff that's kind of junk and not buying the stuff that has real value and potential. And yeah, it's harder in like crypto since it's very technical. It's still very early. There's not many experts in the space yet, so probably you can't go find many experts at a university that isn't a crypto expert, since like crypto requires like so many different areas of knowledge that you have to have a financial background. You need like a technical background. You need to understand like some like politics and like and government and law. So yeah, it takes all this learning to start understanding what this technology is and what it can actually do. But yeah, it's one of like the most exciting areas, since it's bringing like you're at the very leading edge of technology right now, and building stuff that is changing finance and changing how people are going to use the internet. And yeah, so it's a really exciting time. And
totally. It's very interdisciplinary. Like, I think there's one side where there's so much free education online, but the other side is like funneling down and trying to learn it yourself when you probably already have another job where you're like, no, life gets really busy. So it's kind of hard to do that, even though all the resources are there.
That's true. There's just takes so much time to learn everything. And there's always new stuff appearing all the time. So yeah,
I know.
It's a hard topic to learn, but
yeah. Can be overwhelming, but totally worth it. So we have 2 more minutes. And Amelia asked a question that I think is probably a good one to end on, kind of like fire round question, but what are your top 5 crypto projects / coins? So I guess Solana would be like number 1. So what are the others?
Yeah, so yeah, I like Solana. I like Bitcoin still, and I still recommend Bitcoin as the coin for people to get involved with early on, since that's been around the longest. And even like from just a learning aspect, it's the place to begin of understanding why Bitcoin and etc. And yes, I still like Ethereum too, so I hold Ethereum. And yeah, I think of some of the other I guess Solrise too, a project we're invested in. I think that's an interesting one. So it's allowing people to have decentralized asset management. So you have these people basically running a hedge fund for you, and you're able to delegate some of your coins to them, and they start running the portfolio. And we had some pretty good portfolio managers that came out of Solrise. So like some people were getting like over 1,000% in a week of returns.
Oops.
And
Gosh.
yeah, some people have figured out some tricks and stuff to be able to do that, and based off of like how Solrise is set up. But yeah, that's an interesting project. They have their token on FTX, and the ticker's like SLRS. So
SLRS. Okay, I just put the link to it down there if anyone's interested.
yeah, so that's another one to check out. And yeah, I think Saber is another interesting one. So Saber just launched their token it's a Solana stablecoin protocol.
Really? Okay.
And yeah, their ticker is like SBR. And yeah, they just launched their token just this past week. Okay. And yeah, they're getting I think now like the fourth largest like project on Solana by like total value locked in right now. I think they've been growing quite a bit, so they've been getting like millions of new stable coins locked in. So and they're a really good team too. So like Dylan and Ian, who are building Saber, like they've been around the DeFi space since like the very beginning. And
really, like he's a maker from the beginning.
and like Dylan, like he's like the person that came up with the word like decentralized finance. And
wait, really? What?
So you could go. He's like an interesting person. He's very good. And yeah, both those brothers are very passionate about the problems they're solving. They build very fast, and they're doing a lot of interesting stuff on Saber that's going to come out. So that's another project I'm really excited about.
That's awesome. Okay, just put the links to all of those down there. So thank you. These are all things I'm going to check out because I have not even heard of Solrise. I just don't know too much about the Solana ecosystem, but now I'm like super hyped about it. So I will. So thank you.
Oh yeah.
All right. So I think that concludes our Q&A. We are at time. Just want to share my screen real quick again because I just wanted to let everyone. Oh yeah, so I sent the link already, but David's got a whole like crypto resources guide, so I'll share that link in our Discord as well. But yeah, there's literally so much on there, so I definitely would recommend because I think having a curated list helps a lot when you're trying to learn about crypto. So check that out. And then just real quick, also just wanted to share our next event. We're actually talking with this woman named Ava. She started this I think collective called ArtXV. It's basically promoting crypto art for people with disabilities, or the term is neurodiversity. So that's probably going to be next week. I still have to confirm the time, but just wanted to let everyone know that is coming up. So really excited for this conversation. Plus, it's Pride Disability Month, so that's really exciting that we can actually talk to someone who's doing something in this space. So I just wanted to say that real quick. And yeah, that's pretty much it for our meetup. But again, thank you, David, so much for coming on. This was super fun and informative. And yeah, just let me know what your wallet address is, and I can airdrop some PXT, so can hook you up with that. So yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and thanks to everyone that came to the talk today. I enjoyed it.